What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we talk about the premiere episodes of Adult Swim's My Adventures with Superman and discuss Amazon's surprise drop of Invincible presents Adam Eve. So let's get into it. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? And how are you? Because it feels like we have not spoken in a while in this venue. We have in real life and in other ways, video gaming. But man,
Yep,
we haven't.
saw you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we haven't had us an episode here in a while.
Been a
Uh,
minute.
yeah, I think the last time we did something was way back to Secret Invasion episode 1, and now that show's already almost wrapped up. So
Yeah, I gotta get back into that one.
I'm telling you,
I watched
we
episode 1 and 2 and then forgot about it.
we got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but vacations, and I had some equipment issues, so we're back, guys.
Yep.
Sorry for the break, but
We
we're
know
gonna.
you missed us.
I know sometimes your microphone breaks and you don't care, and you keep living your life, and then you're like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot my microphone broke.
Yeah, but anyway, we're back and ready to talk some geek stuff again.
Some
And
cartoons,
yeah, I'm excited. Some animation.
some animation here on Comic-Con weekend.
It is. And it seems like San Diego Comic-Con, which is the big convention for those that don't know. I'm sure everyone listening does know what San Diego Comic-Con is, but it seems like it has a much of a different feel this year with the strikes going on. So all the movie studios aren't really present.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more seems like it's focused on like the Eisner Awards and the artists and the comic books. And man, to me that'd be like more fun. I don't know, just that's just more of what I'm into than like big movie studios coming in and just talking about their movies. And that's what the weekend kind of becomes. I mean, that's cool, I get it. I always love the announcements, we talk about them, it's fun. But just like a comic convention that's about comic books, imagine that. It doesn't seem like that happens much anymore, at least for San Diego.
I
So
think that would be awesome.
yeah.
Like if I was going to go, like if I was going to pick a San Diego Comic-Con to go to, I feel
Mm.
like this would be the one like for me and you to go to and be like, let's just comic it up
Right.
and not have that crowd of people who want to see Robert Downey Jr.,
Hmm.
and just be like, I would imagine the crowd's got to be a lot chiller.
Sure. Yeah, but like we said, the movie stars can't go to this one, so it's kind of a different thing. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on there, that we've seen. Like that's how we heard about this Invincible renewal for season 2, and this surprise like covert guerrilla episode they just dropped on you that no one even knew was coming, which was awesome
I
to
love when
hear.
I love when they
That
do that.
all right, it was great. And some other cool stuff's coming out of there too, like Spider-Man 2 video game, a new trailer that we both watched that like had us drooling that we can't wait for. Um, I totally agree with you. Those who watched it, Venom is going to be Harry Osborn. I mean, it's just going to be right.
I mean,
It's the
that's what
only thing.
makes sense. You have dying Harry Osborn, so
Yeah, he's dying, and at the beginning of that trailer, he talked about like we're gonna heal the world, and then later Venom was like we're gonna heal the world. Like,
oh,
oh,
okay. Then
course
yeah.
of course it's Harry, but it just looks fantastic. That game's going to take over our lives, I think, come October. So
Yep. Be time to 100 my third Spider-Man game.
yeah, man. Does it make you want to go back and play either of those two again
Yes,
before?
I went and down after the first like release trailer for it that
Mhm.
they did not too long ago. I went and downloaded the original, the remaster version because I never played like the remastered one with the updated everything updated and the new Peter Parker. So I was
Mhm.
definitely been thinking if I want to jump into that or not. But Final Fantasy and is eating up some of my time.
I'm getting
Um,
to the point in that game where I need it to be done too.
I can tell. I could tell because I keep seeing you on playing it, and
Yep.
whenever I start seeing like your sessions increase rapidly, I'm like, all right, he just wants this game to end.
There's too much other stuff to get to, man.
I
Make
hear
it
you. I
thing.
hear you, man. I need a solid weekend. Just let me sit for 10 hours and power
Yeah.
through. But Comic Con, they also gave us finally what we've been waiting for years, I think, at this point, which is Invincible Season 2 premiere date, November 3rd.
Man. doesn't it feel like a long time for this? Like they took their time, which I'm okay with when people do that. Like I don't need things to come out like a new season of something every year. But I mean, we talked about Invincible season one on this show, like towards the very beginning of our time doing this. It
Yeah,
was
like
one of
2020, wasn't it, or
yeah,
2021?
21. So this is one of the first things we talked about was Invincible, and we loved it, and we said it was like the best show on television right now that no one's really given a chance because it's a superhero thing and it's animation, but they don't know what they're missing. This is great TV, and it's a little, you know, out there for some people because of the extreme violence, but just like the storytelling. But yeah, it's been a couple years, and like we've all been patiently waiting for news of season two, and finally got it, and that's fantastic. I've been missing it. I didn't realize I was, but what a great show that first season was. So I'm super excited for the continuation of that story. See what's going on. Thinking about rewatching some of season one because it's been that long. But yeah, you're excited too, right?
Yes, I will 100% be watching season one again. I was already looking through the episodes yesterday when I was in Amazon, and I was looking at like, and I was like, oh yeah, that episode. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, that happened. I was like, man, the show was so good. So, I did definitely forget until I watched. Like as Don mentioned earlier, there was a surprise drop of an Adam Eve origin story. Adam Eve being one of the characters from Invincible, and this was her origin story as to how she got her powers and who she is, and how she grew up and all of those things, and it was outstanding. I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. It was awesome.
Yeah,
And it made me, like I said, immediately realize how much I missed this show,
yeah,
how
me too.
good this show really was.
Me too. Just from like, and I'll get it out of the way just like you did. I loved it too. I was like glued to that screen for 55 minutes to like, man, I've been missing this. It's just the animation's great, the voice acting, all that's great, but just like the level of detail to the action for an animation, no matter how like, you know, intense it gets, it's still just like something you don't see really
Yeah, it's so well done.
in the animation we watch, just like the fight scenes and the just the movements and everything is just like, man, this is why I loved this show and why people loved this show because of this. Like they don't do
Hmm.
this where else. Um, at least in like American animation, maybe some,
Some
Japanese.
animes out there that have some pretty sick
Yeah,
fight scenes.
but like this show's made in that style. It's heavily influenced by that, you know, um, sect of animation. So you could tell that influence bleeds through, and I just love it. I love every second of it. Um, so I loved this episode too, and it was about time we got to know Adam Eve a little more. She
Hmm.
was she was the love interest or quasi love interest of Mark in season one, and kind of seeing her origin. And I know me and you have talked about before about sometimes origin stories are a little whatever, but I feel like they handled this one in a good way. Just kind of gave it to you. It's done in one episode, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a quick story. It's not a dragged out whole big thing for a whole movie or episodes upon episodes. And
Hmm.
I was interested to see it was interesting to me to see how she kind of got her powers and became who she was.
Yeah, exactly. Like who is she? Um, like just as a good reintroduction to the series as a whole,
Hmm.
just to kind
Yeah.
of see where that was at. I think we've talked about already there was a special prequel episode, and yeah, as we just kind of follow Eve's journey of or
Mm.
Samantha's journey of how she comes to terms with her own sinister origins and discovers a family she never knew she had. And it was just like you said, it was just done in a way as a solid origin. It wasn't because it's kind of an adult cartoon. They definitely go out of their way of like really sitting on some heavy themes, and I thought this episode did that, with her birth mother dying and swapping a baby. We had her adoptive parents, with a dead baby, and I was like, what's going? I'm like,
Hell,
whoa, this is
hell,
heavy. They're sitting there crying over the loss
mm,
of their child, and then
right.
realized as a homeboy, the doctor Stephen,
Milton,
Stephen Root, yeah, Milton, yeah, exactly.
Office Space, or more recently Barry.
Yeah, but having him swap the babies out, I was like, that's crazy.
Also, shout out to, or rest in peace, Lance Riddick. He was the voice of the general or the head guy of the government.
Yeah,
It's always bittersweet to hear his voice again.
now it
Uh,
is. Yeah, it's sad.
yeah,
Was he at voice on the original?
I don't think so. I think this character was just exclusive to this, uh, separate episode. But yeah, added them as some voice actors and got to see Eve do some things. One thing I will say I'm not disappointed in, but that I mean, spoilers for this. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. You're an Invincible fan.
Yeah,
But like the opening scene was featuring their version of the Justice League, which forgive me, I can't remember their name right now, but we know who
the
they are.
Globe, Guardians of the Globe.
That's their name. And they were fighting like the lizard people. And you could tell, so it's going back from before Invincible, because if you watched Invincible, you know what happens to them.
Mhm.
But it was cool to kind of see them again. And then them talking about, the reserve. We got to call in the reserve. And you're like, he's not going to be in this, is he? And then Omni-Man pops in, just like, yes, there he is. He doesn't. They don't know what he's going to do to them later.
Yeah,
But the only thing was like, I kind of wanted to see the finality of that story. I wanted to see like, well, what happened with that lizard people fight? Like, I wanted to kind of see that keep going. But of course, that was just our lead into that's when baby Sam or Adam Eve got taken out of that science lab. That was
hmm
kind of the vehicle to get us there. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I wanted to see what happened at the end of that Guardians of the Globe lizard fight.
right. Just
Did
take
Omni
me
Man
everywhere.
did Omni Man kill anybody? Like, or was he still hiding it that he was a murdering villains? Like, I don't remember that about Invincible season one. Was he killing bad guys before he, you know what I mean? It's been a
Yeah, I
while.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Shame on me, but I do not remember exactly if that was a light switch or if that was just him coming to terms or even really why he did it. So
Yeah.
have to once again go back. We'll have to go back and get ready. November 3rd. As a not a weird sidebar, but we're talking about Comic Con. We're talking about Invincible. Did you see that Omni Man is going to be in Mortal Kombat, voiced by J.K. Simmons? That almost made Mortal Kombat. Like,
That
just
almost
give it
makes
to
him a
me.
five right there.
Just give it to me.
And Homelander and Peacemaker. They're both in it. You didn't see that shot where it's all of them? Yeah.
No, I didn't see any. I just saw the article that said he was going to reprise his role as Omni Man. I didn't see the other ones.
Oh yeah, there's a shot that Midway, or I think Midway is still the company who
Yeah.
makes Mortal Kombat. They released it with some Mortal Kombat characters on the side, and like in the middle is Homelander, and right in front of him is Omni Man, and to the left or right is Peacemaker, and those are like the three DLC characters. Uh, so yeah, in Mortal Kombat 1, you're going to be able to fight Homelander versus Omni Man. What a
It's
what
insane.
kind of fever dream is that?
With Jean-Claude Van Damme as Johnny Cage.
Right. Sold already. How could
Man,
you
that's awesome.
not? How could you not play that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Stupid October.
right. It's gonna be a big
Or is
month.
that September? That one's September, right?
I think it's September. It's right around the corner, buddy.
Video games. Anyway, Invincible. Yeah, you talking about the action scenes? I loved that fight where she was learning her powers and she had that fight in that alleyway
Mm-hmm.
with the mechanical dude who was stealing jewelry stores and stuff and just watching her powers and her using those powers in the way that was animated. That was awesome. I was
Yeah.
sitting there with a smile on my face just watching that battle go down.
No, that was great. I agree. That was her learning. But then even the scene at the end where she's fighting on the highway versus like her
Yeah.
scenes,
Yeah.
that was insane. Like the stuff they were doing, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is the levels that Invincible takes it to. Like
That's why
some
we waited 2 years for another season.
yeah, yeah, just the brutality of it and the just the fun of it that other superhero shows and adaptations are scared to go to. Invincible's not. Uh, So yeah, I'm totally with you. The action is just mesmerizing, like glued to the screen. That hasn't changed, and it's a good sign for what's to come for season two. I think that they're not changing anything about that. You
Yeah,
know,
hopefully there's no strike delays.
dude, I would hope it's all wrapped up by now, and they're talking about it at San Diego. So you would think if they wouldn't be talking about it if there was going to be a delay, but I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. But yeah, definitely go out of your way to check this one out. It was a good watch. I'm probably going to watch it again and definitely thinking about the series as a whole again, just to give it a go. I got
I
Invincible fever.
it's one we will definitely be talking about when season two comes out.
Yeah.
You can believe that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, going a completely opposite direction, Adult Swim dropped My Adventures with Superman, which is a lot more traditional Saturday morning Superman and definitely a lot heavier influenced by anime.
Well, the Superman's not out here ripping people's hearts out and heads off, if that's what you're wondering. So it's
Yeah.
um, but yeah, Superman, man. There's a new animated Superman. How do you feel about that? Do
I
you like
always liked new animated Superman.
Me too. Like people don't give a lot of love to the original, like around the same time the 94 Batman series came out, then a couple years later, the Superman animated series came out, or even like the next year, pretty soon.
Hmm.
Like I feel like that show gets love, but not as much as Batman, which I get it because Batman was like the first. But that Superman animated show was on the same level as Batman the animated series.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
there was a chunk of time where I was like, I like Superman better.
right? I mean, it was good. It was quality. He had everybody had his whole rogues gallery, like Luthor and Brainiac and all the people that you know. Like that show was great. So
What I always like about a Superman cartoon is, like you just said, with the Rogues Gallery and just being able to see more. Like we wait all these years for a Superman movie, and then it's like, oh, Superman versus Lex Luthor, and I'm just like,
every time,
already
right?
seen that. It's like, I mean, we got Superman Legacy coming up. Well, who's gonna be the bad guy in that? Is it gonna be anybody besides Zod or Luthor? Probably not. Are we gonna get a Brainiac in there? Probably not.
I don't know. James Gunn gets a little crazy. He's already casting some wild co-stars in there, like Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho, like people you wouldn't expect to be in the first Superman movie. So who knows what he's gonna do or who he's
It's
gonna.
true. He does like his, C-level characters.
He loves that shit.
So
Uh,
that it might be a different kind of love, and maybe that's what we want. But yeah, I mean, it's like as much as I loved Man of Steel, it was still Zod. It was just Zod again. We got him in the Christopher Reeves movies. I mean, I know 3 and 4 of the original Superman movies; those were weird and did their own things. Superman versus Nuclear Man, but that's still not like Brainiac or
mhm.
anything else bizarro Superman.
Yeah, the fact that we haven't had a Brainiac live action yet, have we? I don't think so. That's a shame.
Tim
Brainiac,
Burton was gonna do it.
Tim Burton was gonna do it, but like Brainiac as is one of Superman's main villains. Like take away Lex Luthor, he is the other main villain, and the fact that he never got a shot at live action is kind of a shame.
Right?
Uh, so, I mean, whenever he's been in video games or anything like that, or Brainiac comic books, or even the cartoons like we're talking about, those are always great. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And that's what I like, with the Superman cartoons over Batman. Like Batman, we've kind of seen everybody in live action at this point, outside of some real, like, Mad Hatter or, some
Steve,
crazier characters. But for the most part, we've seen everybody live action. So then when you see them in Batman cartoons, they're still good, but doesn't feel special
right?
because you're still comparing it to the movies. Like, well, the Riddler was better in the Batman than this Riddler. And with
Mm-hmm.
Superman, you can't say that. And most of the times Luther even is better. And I always like Superman cartoons. So super excited to see that there was another one, stumble upon it when I was searching through Max. Then we talked about it and I'm here for it. I think through the run, it's easy to watch, Saturday morning cartoons. You got to love waking up Saturday morning and popping on My Adventures with Superman. Um,
Yeah.
So how do you feel? I'm going to give we're spoilers here a little bit talking about this show. I'm going to give the quick basic synopsis, which is Clark Kent building his secret Superman identity as he embraces his role as the hero of Metropolis while sharing adventures and falling in love with Lois, a star investigative journalist who also takes Jimmy Olsen under her wing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about Superman kind of, as we talked about a minute ago, origin?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go all the way back, but this Superman doesn't know who he is, or at least he didn't when the show started. He kind of figured out
Yeah.
that was his dad. That was Jor-El talking to him. I loved the fact that Jor-El didn't speak English. That was a nice little touch there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, how do you feel about another Superman origin technically?
Yeah, I think the idea of this show was to kind of they're obviously if you watched it and you're watching it, you can tell they're like skewing them younger. They're who knows how old, early 20s, like Clark and Lois and Jimmy, and they're not even like full-fledged reporters yet. They're interns at the Daily Planet. So then Superman's got to be young too. So if you're gonna make him young, you kind of gotta fiddle with the origin a little bit and like at least talk about it. He can't already have been established if he's just like a young guy. I do like the fact that they kind of opened the show with like a little hit of what happened to him when he was a little kid, and then we go into the show. And then the second episode, you get another one where him and Martha and Jonathan Kent are kind of like exploring the ship that he came in on, and then we go back to the episode. So it's like they're giving us pieces of the origin, but it's not like the whole first episode wasn't him as a kid and he fell to Earth and Krypton explodes again. Like we said, we've seen that. We
Mm-hmm.
saw that in movies. We even saw that in the cartoon we were just talking about in the '90s. They like did an episode like that.
First two episodes were Krypton
Yeah,
exploding.
yeah, it was like a two-parter about Krypton exploding. So I think they kind of had to talk about it a little bit, but I like that we haven't just been lingering on it. And there's a I don't remember which episode it was in. We're talking about this kind of as a whole, but like when Lois is trying to interview him and she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I don't know." She's like, "Where are
Mm-hmm.
you from?" "I don't know that either. I'm
Yeah.
figuring it out. Like, I don't know how do you have your powers?" "I'm figuring it out. I don't know." Um, that's kind of cool to me that I just like that he's learning along with us as the viewer. Um,
That is a
so
cool way to do it. Usually by the time he goes to Metropolis, he kind of has it all figured out. He at least is a kind of Superman already. And this time, yeah, he got the uniform in the
the
second. I mean, the
uniform,
whole first episode, he didn't have it.
yeah, and they
He was
kind of
just in a
they kind of
hoodie.
kind of changed the mythology of his Superman suit. Like it came to him as part of like the Krypton spaceship, and it just was on him. It's not like a fabric suit that his mom made, like traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just had to be like, all right, we got to fast forward through the uniform making. Just throw it on him. It's like Kryptonian tech or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fine with that. But yeah, the origin I feel like had to be touched on a little bit. But I like how they're doing it. They're doing it in a little more of a brief, fast-paced way. Like we've all seen it. I think they get that. And so yeah, I'm cool with them kind of going through the origin a little bit.
Now, the one thing this show, and I think with the episode 4 that just aired, they probably already blew this up, but I was watching that episode thinking how nice it was to watch Superman hide his identity
Mm-hmm.
and how much I missed that aspect of just nobody knows who he is. Because in every adaptation we've had, probably over the last 10 years, everybody knows who Superman is. Batman knows who he is. Lois knows who he is. Like everybody has an idea of who Superman is. Man of Steel, I don't remember when Lois figured it out. It was in that movie though, wasn't it?
I don't know. It's been a while. I
I
can't
know.
remember.
But ultimately it's like even the new Superman and Lois show. I mean, it's like they started that with them having kids and being out. So I really was enjoying the aspect of going back to that. He's trying to hide his identity. And then of course they ended that episode with Lois Lane saying, Clark Kent's Superman. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Now they
You,
could spend a bunch of episodes of him like hiding that from her or
right.
her,
Maybe she's gonna like pretend like she doesn't know. She see if she can get him to admit it or whatever. Um,
and she might convince herself that it's not true. So
that is definitely one thing I thought about too, because I agree with you. I like this secret identities in comics don't exist anymore. Like or in adaptations, like you said, everybody eventually gets outed. And that to me is one of the funnest parts of the two that come to mind specifically are Superman and Spider-Man. Them hiding it from their loved ones, trying to lead a normal life, they're doing it to protect their loved ones so their enemies can't, take them hostage or torture them because they know who Spider-Man is or Superman. Batman to a lesser extent, but like those are the three. Batman, like he doesn't care. He's a billionaire. He's just, it's easy for him to hide it. But like Peter Parker and Clark Kent just trying to live normal lives and like have an apartment and just whatever. And when shit's going down, they have to figure out a way to covertly disappear. Like, where's Clark? Where's Peter? Like that part is just fun to you as a kid. Like, how could they not know?
Well, and I like those are the two characters that you mentioned with Clark and Peter being like they are. I'm trying to think of the word for it, but they actually are given time for their characters. Like Peter Parker is as much of a main character of the comics as Spider-Man. Like Peter gets his enough runtime, enough pages. Same with Clark Kent. Like he has stories as Clark Kent, and then
Right.
Superman kind of comes in, but most of his adventures start with him being Clark, or at least they used to. Peter Parker, it's kind of like Peter Parker, and then he turns into Spider-Man and does the job. Batman to a lesser extent, like you said, but so many other heroes, their alter egos are just overtaken them. So you don't get full Tony Stark stories. You get Iron Man stories. You don't get Bruce Banner. You get the Hulk.
Yeah, and the MCU decided that right from the beginning. Like the end of that first Iron Man movie was him basically being like, "I am Iron Man," where they had a chance where they could have done a secret identity thing for a movie or two, because even in the comics, like Iron Man was always it was a secret identity thing where people thought Iron Man was just Tony Stark's bodyguard and they didn't know who he was. So they had a chance to kind of mess with that and they kind of passed on it. But yeah, I'm with you. I enjoyed the first 3-4 episodes of this because he had to hide his identity and because he was dodging whatever, and that's just a fun little aspect of the character that I liked. I get it. Lois at some point is going to know who he is. They gotta further their relationship that way. It was like, oh, only 4 episodes. We couldn't do this a little longer. It's just fun.
Yeah, I was hoping we get a little bit more, and hopefully maybe we still will. Who knows? But um, yeah, we'll see where they're going with it. But I've been having fun with this. I like seeing, like I said, some bad guys that are just different. We had, the tech
Livewire,
billionaire, huh?
Livewire in the first two, that lady, and then the Amazo tech guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool to just see some different people. And
yeah.
the
Dr. Ivo.
yeah, the action in this show, I mean, it's not in what we were just talking about Invincible. It's not like brutality like that, but it's still pretty good. Like for a Saturday morning cartoon, like Superman fighting these dudes, like
Yeah.
I like it. I like the animation style. It's similar to that, very anime influenced and very clean. I don't know. I enjoy it.
No, and I like the fact that it doesn't all they haven't introduced kryptonite yet. So like
Right.
it's not everything is built around kryptonite. It's not that it's like I mean Dr. Ivo was trying really hard to be like I can beat Superman with
Right.
technology, and it wasn't, hey, the suit's made out of kryptonite.
Right. Like every other book where the only way you can beat up Superman is because of kryptonite. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like an easy way out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can figure out other ways to actually have his fights have some weight to them or matter. Yeah, that's always fun. That's why people liked his fights with Doomsday. Like just this is just some big giant guy whooping his ass. Doesn't have anything to do with Lex Luthor has kryptonite again.
One didn't even when they did Doomsday and Batman versus Superman, wasn't he made out of kryptonite or something stupid?
He had like a kryptonite heart or something, or what he pierced him with that killed him was like kryptonite infused, some horse shit. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes when you just are able to leave the kryptonite out of it and just let him get beat up a little bit, it's fun.
Yeah. Like I said, I had a blast watching this. I like listening to Jack Quaid as Clark Kent Superman. He
I
does
was
a
gonna,
good job, like all of the voice acting. Alice Lee as Lois Lane, Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen. They're fun.
yeah, yeah. Jack Quaid has a voice now that we recognize just from The Boys. He's
Mhm.
good for this. He does a good job at it. Like he'll never get his chance to play Superman live action, but he's got a good voice for a Superman. Uh, I'm into it.
I saw he did an interview how jarring it was to voice this cartoon and film The Boys at the same time
Right, because
because they're
they're like
so opposite.
different spectrums. Uh,
So he was like, "Oh, this is all wholesome," and then I go do The Boys, and that's not at all,
Not even close.
not even a little bit. So yeah, animation, man. I'm glad that it's coming back. And I saw, well, I mean, I guess it never went anywhere, but I saw a couple other movies popped up on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
The Batman Doom, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about checking that out. I always
Yeah.
enjoy it. I used to buy everyone for a while. I went through a phase.
Say what you will about DC, the DCU, the live action, it has its issues, which is well documented, and we talk about them. But they've kind of always killed the animation game. Like they're miles ahead of Marvel, I think. As
Marvel
far
doesn't even try to do.
they don't anymore. I mean, that might change sometime in the future, like with the X-Men cartoon that's coming, and who knows what comes after that. But DC always has been, we've talked about on this show, we talked about Batman animated series, the Long Halloween movies, I think the Red Hood movie. We've talked about a few different, DC animation, and they're not all, 5 stars, but they're good. DC is good with their animation department.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the Ninja Turtles and Batman.
yeah,
Did you ever watch that one?
no.
I never realized how bad I wanted to see a fight between Batman and the Shredder,
Yeah.
and it opens that movie, and it's outstanding. Like I remember watching this animated, going, "What is this right now?"
I've read that comic book, but I haven't watched that. I'll have to watch that.
It was a solid adaptation for the animation. But yeah, I always enjoy
Yeah.
the DC animated. Usually, more often than not, knocks it out of the park. Their
Yeah, man.
Flashpoint was
Yeah.
awesome.
Hmm.
They're not afraid to go darker places than
Yeah.
anyone else plans to go. But yeah, maybe
Well,
Marvel will catch up, or maybe they'll decide to do some cartoons. But
yeah, for now, DC's king. And it says a lot about animation that lately, what have we watched this? Invincible. We just talked about Spider-Verse. I think both of us are excited to go see the Ninja Turtles animated movie that's coming
mm-hmm.
out. So it's like animation's kind of, you know, grabbing all of our attention right now and moving beyond some live action stuff, which is fun with me. There's no limits to animation, which is what's fun about it. Like they can do things that you can't do in live action, and to us, we're these big grown-up kids. We still like this. We love watching this kind of stuff, and if it's good, it's quality. It doesn't matter that it's animated.
when
um
I thought about that watching one of these episodes with Superman, where like just the tech, where like I know when they were talking with like Perry White, and he like touches a pad and it brings up like a projection of like a screen, and he's like, "Oh, this is the Dr. Ivo, and he's one of the most eligible bachelors," and all this information is just like floating there. And I'm sitting there going, "Man, this works," because and we've been seeing that tech in cartoons for years. It doesn't work when you do it in live action. Very rarely does it like look good or look believable, and it doesn't exist in real life. So it's just like, but I've been watching cartoons for decades, and they always have kind of crazy tech. But like you said, you could do whatever you want. It's a cartoon, so you can just, if you think it, you could do it. That's why I enjoy some animes. Like you could do some crazy shit that you just can't do. If you try to do it live action, it doesn't work. That's why most live action anime adaptations suck, because it
Cowboy
just
Bebop.
doesn't. The what?
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that was so boring. Every time I tried to watch it, I fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it just doesn't translate. You just can't do it. And but like I said, there's no limits, no rules. It's awesome.
Yeah, if somebody can draw it, it can exist.
Yeah,
So that's why it's fun. That's why it works for us and a lot of different people that just don't call animation a kids game. It can be for everybody. It's really entertaining us, at least right now. So
yeah. And if we got all these strikes going on, we might not have anything. We might
right
not have anything else for a while. So let's enjoy our cartoons.
there it is. I like it.
I do like it. You have any final thoughts on Invincible, My Adventures with Superman? Obviously, we're going to keep watching both of them. So
Yeah, I think so. I'm just glad they both exist. I'm glad Invincible's back. Superman's a fun surprise. That could have went either way. Could have been, not for me, but it definitely is for me. Just a fun little 23-minute episode to sit and watch every Friday or every weekend when they come out. And
Saturday
uh,
morning.
exactly. So yeah, man, having fun with both, and glad we're enjoying it.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to do a Invincible rewatch.
Oh, I think
Amazon does that party mode that I've never tried. We should maybe try that. Watch party.
yeah, we can give it a shot.
Might need to give that a shot and see what that looks like and rewatch some Invincible.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that sounds good. But we want to thank everybody for coming back, talking to us, listening to us. My computer screen just went blank. There it came back. So
Here you are.
lost my eyes for a minute. But want to thank everybody for listening and coming on back. If you want to join the conversation, hit us up on all podcast social media services at Raise the Geek. You can subscribe to us over on YouTube at Raise the Geek, or you can shoot us an email at raisethegeek@gmail.com. We're always looking for those 5-star reviews or whatever review metric, whatever the max is, we want it. Leave a comment. Let us know where you're from so we can give you a proper shout out on the show. But we do appreciate those blank 5 stars as well. But think that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm done.
And thanks for checking out the show.
For geek is all we speak.